Let me tell you so you no go fi stand 1 minute when we come back around. Feel it, move up your body right now. Mommy, don't never worry. Fake love, no the impress. I got vision. Burn them, free them, they never listen. We took a million and flip the precision, yeah. Give me something where I know if you see it. Let me tell you so you no go fi stand 1 minute when we come back around. Feel it, move up your body right now. Mommy, don't never worry. Fake love, no the impress. I got vision. Burn them, free them, they never listen. We took a million and flip the precision, yeah. Give me something where I know if you see it.
So nice. I had to play it twice. So I remember a radio DJ used to do that in New York and New Jersey and Connecticut. He used to literally play songs on the radio twice and say, "So nice, I had to play it twice." Yes, God bless Frankie Crocker was his name. So welcome everyone to Removing the Cape. Welcome to the second annual Removing the Cape, a global fireside chat for women leaders. I am your host, Coach Vuyanzi, a life, executive, and career coach who helps women leaders who are shaping the world or ready to transition their careers with clarity, confidence, and ease, with a focus on Black women leaders. My vision is to guide 1 million of those leaders boldly into their next chapter, where purpose meets a plan and passion meets global impact. You can learn more about what I do as a coach and as a speaker at vuyanzicoaches.com. Now, a little bit about how this event began. This conference started like as an idea. Actually, it was more like a challenge that someone threw my way. They asked, well, could you really do something like this? And my answer was a resounding yes. Now, that's this event, but even from a bigger scope, I wanted to share with you the genesis of being in the women empowerment space anyway. You see, there were times that I would see my mom sitting at the dining room table saying, uh-huh, yes, uh-huh, yes. And basically, what I saw her doing over the years was was counseling to women who would call her. She was not in any official capacity. However, women used to call her for advice, whether it be about just personal things, their relationships, maybe even their careers, about their careers or about their parenting, their children. But they used to call my mother. My mother basically was doing coaching before we even knew what coaching was. And I'll tell you how seriously she used to take it, that we might say, we meaning my siblings, my sisters, and I might say, oh, that was such and so. What was she talking about? And my mother would hold the confidence of these people that did not pay her, yet spoke to her about their situations, their issues that they had. So having seen that, I know that that seed of empowerment specifically for women was planted in me, even to the point that she used to have retreats, get-togethers, specifically for women to grow spiritually. So here we are in our second year with women from around the world, gathering for learning, inspiration, and healing, where we are taking off those invisible capes we wear and stepping into our authentic power. Now, here's what you missed so far. Day one was Robin T. Emerson with Who Says It's a Man's World? Day two was Dr. Sabine Charles with Voice, Visibility, and Value. Day three was Bobby Knox with The Pause Before the Pivot. And the bonus session with Amina Farah, who gave us the Vagina Dialogues. Day four was Desiree Cocroft with If They Don't Give You a Seat, build a table anyway. Day 5 was Ifoima Ben with Sisterhood Unlocked. Day 6 was Margaret Hirsch with Money Moves That Match Your Mission. Day 7, that was yesterday, was Yvonne Jerry with Reinvention RX, starting over without starting from scratch. If you missed these 7 out of the 10 days, then guess what? The replays are up already, but you can only get them through, well, one of the ways you can get them is through our WhatsApp group. You can gain access to all the replays there and also the Facebook group as well by the same name. But the WhatsApp group, you can easily join by the link that will be shared with you. And that link has also been in your reminder emails. They are available now. Now, I want you to make sure that you have your notebooks and note-taking device. I dropped my pen because every single night I have had a notebook, the same notebook, not just any one, to capture insights, quotes, or questions. We'll leave time at the end for your questions and answers. I'll have some too. And so make sure you jot them down as they come up, or even if you want, you can type them in the chat now. Also, a word about the tech and about the chat. This is all together. Many of you like watching this, and I don't blame you, on a maximized screen. And a maximized screen will hide the chat. You won't be able to see it, nor will you be able to write in it. In order to write in the chat, you will need to minimize your screen in order to type there. So I encourage you at times that we ask you, or one of the speakers asks you to say something, that you minimize it. And just so that the speakers know, there's also a delayed answer. So you'll ask a question and sometimes it feels like a long time before people answer. But we want to interact with you. We want to hear your, well, not hear, but we want to see your questions and see your comments. Also, as we move through today's conversation, I'd love for you to share what resonates with you. You can easily do it by using the hashtag remove the cape, and you can tag me at Coach Vuyanzi. You could do that on LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok. Now, all right, queens, we have two topics today. There is a bonus session. Now, first up is going to be Healing the Hustle with Joy Langley. And then second will be, our bonus session will be Joanne Muturi with Beyond the Glam, Radical Self-Care That Sustains You. So please stay with us. Don't hang up. Please make sure you stay with us. Now, first, here's a little bit about our amazing first speaker, Joy. Let's bring her up as I introduce her. Joy Langley is a therapist, coach, and the author of Navigating Stress. Ooh, it sounds like we all need to read that book. She helps women transform mixed up moods, a messy mind, and exhaustion to revitalizing their lives using her, energy signature method. I cannot wait to hear about that. And so, Joy, take it away.
Well, after an introduction like that, there's nothing more that I can say. I could leave now and I won't be. Thank you very much, Vuyanzi. That was an incredible introduction, and welcome everyone to today's session. Are you ready to heal the hustle? I had a beautiful introduction just then. And yes, my name is Joy Langley. I'm an emotional intelligence coach. I'm also a therapist. And I work with hundreds of women and men throughout the years and continue to do so, looking at stress, anxiety, and depression. And I've expanded it, as Vuyanzi has just said, into dealing with that messy mind and helping people to get past overwhelm and other things that happen to them because they're in business or working at a very high level in business. I have also released a book, as Vuyanzi just said, and it's called Navigating Stress. It was released during COVID, and it really is a simple way of looking at the stresses that happen in life and what you can do about that. I think that's enough for me. I'm going to be moving on because Fuyansi wants me to wrap this up so that we can have a little bit of a chit chat at the end as well. Today is definitely a time to remove the cape. Now, I want you to imagine it sitting on your shoulders and you're undoing the poppers or you're undoing the catch. And I want you to just let it fall to the floor. Now, the cape that you are wearing, it's heavy. And I would say it's a little bit whiffy. You know, it could do a dry clean or a wash, but you won't take it off. It's kind of full of the hustle energy that you've been using and sweat. And it also carries other things, which I will tell you about later on too, but the weight of family and society's expectations. And you're also probably very lucky in that it comes with a mask. Now, the mask is important. It helps you to smile and hide your sadness, your anger, and your exhaustion. A little bit of food for thought here. Does the household culture create self-neglect? Does it mean that you ignore your own needs and you put others first? Are you ignoring your mental and emotional distress? And do you set an invisible glass ceiling that limits your success? Before I go any further, I do want you to answer 2 questions for me. And I want you to rate them on a scale of 0% to 100%, or 1 to 10, whichever you prefer. These questions are going to help me to at least understand what's going on for you too. First question, and I hope you've got a pen and paper handy. Do you believe that you are hustling? So this will mean different things to different people. But if you don't believe you are, it's 0. If you think you are totally 100%, it could be 100%. So just think about that question. Do you believe that you are hustling? The second question I want you to answer is hustling bad for your health? Now, I would call that bordering on self-harm or self-neglect, but is hustling bad for your health? And again, a scale of 0 to 100%. So I hope that you've jotted your answer down, because I'm going to come back and I'm going to be asking you this at the end of my little session. Before we go any further, what exactly is hustle energy and why do women fall for it? Now, lots of definitions of hustling, and I've been speaking to a couple of people, but the dictionary states it as moving quickly or pushing forcefully. And today, within business, it's kind of morphed into something a lot more demanding. It's become a mandate, and it insists that busyness is what we do. And busyness is equal to worthiness. And if we look at the UK definition and the USA definition, they're quite different. And I want us to look at a global perspective as well, because wherever you come from, you may have a different definition for the word hustle. But in the UK, we kind of consider that word to be a bit, we call it dodgy, a bit strange, a bit like untrustworthy. It reminds me of someone who's trying to, flog me something, sell me something in the back of a pub or something. And it's like, yeah, it's a bit dodgy. In the USA, it's a badge of honor. It's something that's held in high esteem for ambition and drive and motivation and grit. And it's led to this kind of rise and grind mentality. So, 2 different perspectives, and wherever you are from too, you may have your own perspective on this too. Now, I wanted to talk about where does it come from. Now, I looked at the girl boss and the boss babe era. They were around the 2010 to 2020-ish. Some people still holding on to that. And it was based around empowerment. But did it really lead to exhaustion? Now, the boss babe sort of culture, it glamorized the rise and shine and stress energy, and it called it passion and ambition. and you may still be calling that too. It gave us very catchy mantras as well, and lots of books were released. I put a list up there too of books that have been released. Things like Girl Boss by Sophia Amoruso, or Lean In by Sheryl Sandberg, or You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero, and also Girl Wash Your Face by Rachel Hollis, and another book by Rachel called Girl Stop Apologizing. So there were an awful lot of books that came out then. I must admit they inspired me at the time. So they promised freedom and a way of running your business and perhaps travel freedom, creating a lifestyle that you love, having a 6-figure income. Also, getting out your pretty planners and your journals and reading the right books that I've just mentioned. But the reality was something slightly different. It led to anxiety, stress, burnout, comparisonitis, poor sleep, and emotional and mental challenges. I call it a racing mind. Now, during the era just before that, you may remember the Spice Girls. I hope you do. But they were what I would call modern feminists. They encouraged us again, women, to stand out and stand up and take what we wanted. But there is a hidden cost, of course, for this hustle culture. It can lead to things like health and health issues, especially around burnout, chronic stress. Now, your nervous system is always on and it's stuck in overdrive. You've got adrenaline, you've got cortisol rushing around your body. It's in survival mode. And because it's there, you never really truly settle. It might impact your sleep. You might notice that your sleep is a bit restless, or if you wake up in the middle of the night, 3:30-ish tends to be, you can't get back to sleep. So you have a day where you're not feeling completely with it, and you feel a bit foggy and out of it. So sleep is really important, but a lack of restorative sleep. Your boundaries are also poor as well. Your work bleeds into your evenings, and you find that your identity is just around your achievements. It leads to burnout, people pleasing, and unsustainable work practices. So you can find that you get health flare-ups. Now, I'm going through something myself, so perhaps I'm stressed out, who knows? But, your body keeps the scores. Headaches, stomach aches, IBS, mysterious aches and pains. That can be stuff that happens to you. Also, there can be a cost on your relationship. I call it relationship loss and relationship debt. So connections do suffer because we are feeling too drained to take part. And when we do take part, we show up, but we're not present. So it's having a big impact on all areas of your life, and it sort of spills over into your personal life too. There's also a loss of joy and a loss of pleasure and fulfillment. Now, I was recently rereading a book by Daniel Priestley, and he talked about purpose and pleasure. We need to have both of those in our life. We need a sense of purpose, but we also need to have pleasure too. And finding your own balance is really unique to you. But if you have too much purpose and no pleasure, life is pretty dull. And if you have too much pleasure and no purpose, you feel aimless and you can be drifting through life. So as I said, that boss babe, girl babe era, it's kind of changing. Generation Z, I've read on the, I think it's TikTok, the snail girl boss era. Now that sounds really strange, but snails move very slowly. So I'm assuming that's where it's come from. And a lot of young women, almost 73%, would trade part of their salary for shorter work hours. They want a softer, more relaxed way of working. They want to protect their personal energy and their peace. And Generation Z women, they prioritize their self-care and their happiness. They want to be mindful. And this is probably a good sign. And it's proof, I suppose, that they're pushing back on the hustle culture and they're pushing back on toxic workplaces. Now, there's a lot of reasons why women unconsciously wear the cape. And I say unconsciously because a lot of habits that we get into, if we practice them often enough, they just become the way that we do things. So many women are wearing the cape because they consider themselves to be the savior, the fixer, the backbone of the family, the strong person who gets everything done at all costs. And they think it's their superpower. But I know that woven within that cloth, there's a lot of expectations, a lot of trauma, and also systemic pressures. So let's go into a couple of those. You may have heard of something called epigenetics. Now, it's to do with your DNA and your biology, and it looks at generational trauma. Imagine that the body is quite clever and generations are quite clever at giving you what you need to live and to survive. So we're looking at, in your history, things that helped your mother or your grandmother or your great-grandmother, etc., to survive. They would have been passed down through your DNA. Doesn't mean that you're always expressing them, but they're there if you need it. So perhaps these roles of being a caregiver, the nurturer, the peacemaker, it's invisible inheritance that you have has been passed on to you. You know, your desire to keep everybody happy. It's also the stress patterns that would have been passed on to. So remember, they were there for survival, so it wasn't a bad thing, but you may not need that now. It leads to a lot of hypervigilance, being on guard, and a lot of self-sacrificing. So let's look at life and socialization. I mean, within families, they have their own rules, don't they? And there's also the economy that we're trying to deal with too. But the good girl conditioning, you're agreeable, you're very pleasant, you're accommodating, and probably at the cost to yourself. And that cape becomes your armor and your strength. It's something that you actually pride yourself in having, but it can be compounded and sort of increase because of the class that you come from. The UK has a kind of class system, and other countries have class systems too. It can also be due to your race. It could be due to your status. You could be a single mother. And it leads to martyrdom and overgiving and a lot of stress. If we look at life too, but apply it to your business life, business culture, you may be copying the male model of business and the male codes. Nothing wrong with that, but they're of their time, and also women are now in a position where we can bring more of our feminine energy into business, but we're perhaps using an old-fashioned business model. And it can be particularly tough on women of colour, where we have lots of ideas passed down to us, but also begin to see it that we have to work twice as hard to get half as far. So excellence becomes compulsory. It's not something that we can, it's not a nice to have, it's not optional. And the leadership styles and your competence, perhaps people question them. And the final part of why women may be wearing an unconscious cape is the psychology. There's trauma, there's internalized beliefs. Now, childhood messages, they really do sink in, which is why I always encourage people to be careful what they say around children. But things like don't be a burden or stay quiet or just shut up. You might be told to be a good little girl, or to prove your worth by doing your work in the house or homework or housework. Everything is like, can you show me that you're deserving? And over time, these become lifelong scripts. You learn that's what you have to do in order to keep people happy. You work harder, you smile, you suffer in silence. And there is an impact on your own identity. You start feeling like a fraud, like an imposter. So imposter syndrome can be a real thing. Now, after hearing a little bit about what the hustle culture is and how it might apply to you, the global impact, etc., I'm going to ask you that question that I asked you about 10 minutes ago. The first question was, do you believe that you are hustling? On a scale of 0 to 100%, where would you put yourself? 0, you don't believe that you're hustling anymore. or yes, 100%. You're beginning to change it. And your figures may change, they may not change. They are very personal to you. Question 2 was, is hustling bad for your health? Does it create self-harm or self-neglect? So just have a think about that on a scale of 0 to 100%. Is hustling bad for your health? And I was talking to a friend of mine who lives in the USA. She's a lawyer. And she was talking, well, she comes from, I think it was South America. And she was saying that one of the mantras that she developed was study, serve, and survive. So really interesting ideas that you develop simply because of where you've come from and your environment. There are a lot of solutions, which is good news, and they do involve you changing your identity and your values. I call it your future self, the vision of how you see yourself in the future. You need to get to know that person and feel more closely attached to them so that you want to make those changes right now in this moment. I also want you to look at the way that you think. I can abbreviate it to TABS: thoughts, attitudes, your beliefs, and your stories. It's the way that you think, the thoughts that go around your head when you're not paying attention, the way in which you respond to something automatically. Now, within that, in the world of thinking, neuroscience has shown us that there is something called neuroplasticity. The brain can change. Years ago, people used to believe that we couldn't change, and you'd hear people saying, that's just the way I am. Well, you don't have that excuse anymore. Your brain can change. The same way that you adopted all the negative thinking and negative ideas, you can take on board the positive ones with repetition and also allowing the brain to strengthen the neural pathways. Be careful of the language that you use too. I know that it creates your reality. You can be around positive people and they give you such a charge and you want to see them again. You can be around quite miserable, down, upset people, and again, you can take on board their energy. So be careful about your language too. And monitor your own personal energy. So these childhood beliefs come about simply because we, as a child, all we want to do is to be looked after, cared for, get some attention, and we gain approval by doing things that we do things, and if people approve of it, we do it again. It's as simple as that. So these things are laid down in our early years. So if you're being tough on yourself, sometimes it's looking back at the things that I am subconsciously holding, which perhaps I need to address. So you have watched the film, you've read the book, you've got the t-shirt, you probably know what to do. Are you doing any of these things? Are you asking for help when you need it? Are you taking a step back when you need it? Do you take that alone time? Do you remember to put yourself first? Do you learn to forgive yourself? Do you know how to say no? Do you set boundaries when you need to? Are you asking for what you need? And are you staying at home when you need to, when you need that downtime? So there's lots of things that you can do. And without this kind of healing being put in place, burnout is something that can happen to human beings. A couple of frameworks here that can support your change and help you to change. You've heard about the science, the neuroscience and neuroplasticity. The brain can change. I started to use a couple of systems and ideas with clients and frameworks with clients to help them to support change. And I keep it really simple. So simple words like YES, yes. Simple words like TEA, T. And simple things like TLC. And so I'm really into helping you to remember things. Why complicate it unless you really have to? So yes energy is around your yes energy signature. What kind of energy do you carry in your body all of the time that helps you to operate at your best? This means that you should notice when things are going right, when things are going wrong, whether they increase your energy, decrease your energy. Is it a person? Is it a place? Is it an activity? Recognize that your energy signature is as unique as your fingerprint. Now, also, when I look at the yes energy, there's a way of breaking down some of the events that are happening in your life by using what I call the T system, or a T process. You're looking at your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions, and you map those out. You can do it in your head, or you can get a bit of paper and do it. But you need to look at these three moving parts in your life. What am I thinking? What am I feeling? What am I doing? So thoughts, emotions, and actions. And the last system, which I've introduced more recently, about a year ago, in fact, is the TLC system. This stands for tender love and care, but it's a way of reminding you to look after yourself, because it was something that I wasn't doing for myself. And I'd managed to, I would say, burn out again for the third time. This time it felt a lot more serious. And the TLC system was my way of recognizing that I just stopped being kind to myself. When did that happen? And what do I have to do to put that back in place? So that's the system which I have introduced. And these three things, they all work together. If you want to really look at any event, remember the T system. That should be at the top of the tree, top of your mind. Because what are you thinking? What you think can create an emotion or feeling. What feelings you have can create an action. And then you get stuck in a loop. They kind of end up reinforcing each other until you bring some awareness to the table, which is why emotional intelligence is so popular. It's helping you to understand what's happening for you, bring that to your attention, and try and change things. When I look at the T system, it helps me in the moment to change what I'm doing. So it's very accessible, and I hope that it is there for you too. And I'll give you an example. I'll talk you through an example. There might be an old pattern that you have, that you're feeling that you're behind and everybody is ahead. The way in which you could flip that thought would be, I'm working on my own timeline and my pace is mine to control or mine to set. Within the old pattern, if you had that thought about, I'm falling behind, everyone's ahead, what emotion could that possibly create? You might have felt shame, panic, inadequacy. And what actions would you take? You might decide to just numb yourself out and not do anything, to doom scroll or to overwork. You'd find a way of solving that for yourself. So a new way to do it, you've got that new thought, which is, I am on my own timeline and I pace myself. You can look at a new emotion coming out of that. You might feel calm, more grounded and more relaxed. And the action that you take is that you feel like doing something. You take it one step at a time and you rest when it's needed. So remember that the neural pathways in your brain, they can be rewired. It's a case of repetition. So just like walking down a pathway that didn't exist, covered in grass initially, by the end of that long walk, you will see a clear pathway, which is actually the neural pathway being built and being strengthened. And last of all, there's the TLC framework. I call it TLC principles and practices, but tender love and care is something that we think we do. I realized I wasn't doing it for myself, and I started to embrace it properly and practice it. So you need to tend to what's happening in the moment, let go of some of the thoughts that are happening, and choose something new. Do something different in that moment, which is a kind, caring, loving thing. I represent it as a triangle because I love pyramids as well. I also have a stack, so you can again see that these things work all together. But when you get really good at this, tenderly taking time to pause whenever an event happens, instead of just reacting, you choose to respond and bring some love into that. Lovingly learn to let go of the thoughts and the attitudes, the beliefs and the stories that are holding you back. That's the love part of it. And then caringly choose to change. I say that we have a choice. We forget that we have choices. And I remember there was a time in my life when I actually woke up and thought, oh my goodness me, I can change this. I have a choice. So we do forget. And look at your identity as well. You want to clean up your language and change some of the words that you use. Now, if hustle means something positive to you, then keep it. but perhaps move from the word hustle to being in flow. Perhaps look at the word grind and say that you're now in alignment. Change the word struggle to strategy. Change the word busy to being purposeful. So sacrifice can go to looking after, imagine that you're in charge of looking after the resources. So it's not about sacrificing things. It's about giving out the resources that you need in an orderly manner. Instead of saying words like, I feel slayed, or I feel I'm crushing it, or I'm slaying things, you could say I'm serving and I'm connecting. Instead of being careless, you could be intentional. Instead of working harder, you can work smarter. Now, as I said those words, I want you to listen to the internal energy that you felt. Good or bad, you'll get an instant reaction. Your body cannot stop itself from doing that. And you'll know really in your heart of hearts which words work for you. So ditch all those phrases that talk about glorifying depletion and overworking, and try new identities. Become a leader who says, I lead with clarity and calm, or I'm a value-led owner. I build according to my principles, or I'm a guardian. I protect my energy, I protect my money, and I protect my time. So start reading your yes energy signature. Imagine it as a Wi-Fi system. Is there a strong signal, a patchy signal, an offline signal? And look at the strong signal. It would be a good sign that you're grounded, that you're resourced, that you can meet challenges when you need to. If you were getting a patchy signal, you might begin to think, oh, scattered energy, scattered attention. Oh, I'm pushing through this when I shouldn't be. You're not functioning at your best. And if you've gone offline, well, you can imagine what's happening there if you've gone offline, but your energy has kind of disappeared, hasn't it? I would say offline too often means that you're heading towards burnout. So that should be something that you should pay attention to. But these three areas, strong signal, patchy signal, have I gone offline? Offline, have I gone into overwhelm, shut down, numbing? Just think about whether that's the kind of energy that you're moving throughout the day. And there's nothing wrong with the strong signal, the patchy signal, the offline signal. This is about you recognizing when I need to do certain work, which one, where am I at, and what can I tune into to up it, to up my energy, or if I need to bring it down, what can I do to bring that down? So that's an idea. And I do have a PDF which you can download. It's a mood energy tracker. It helps you to at least be aware of what's happening to you in the first instance, because if you're not aware of something, you can't change it. That's and I think that's been put up on the screen for you to have a look at too. So think about the mood energy tracker and use that throughout your day just to keep a note of where you are at in terms of your energy. Please feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. That's where I spend a lot of my time. Get clear on where your energy goes. Feel free to book a 30-minute conversation with me, Healing the Hustle. We can talk about where you're at, what you're doing right, what you're doing wrong, what you'd like to achieve, and how you can improve your whole energy system. And of course, the other offer, which I've just shown you, is the mood energy tracker. It's a very old-fashioned, old-school pen and paper exercise. I know we're into putting everything into our phones, but we don't spend enough time stopping, slowing down. And this is a way of stopping your mind from rushing. And when we commit things to paper, different parts of our brain work while we're writing. So there's a lot of science around why perhaps an old-fashioned system where you're writing things down works for you. It improves your self-awareness, and you can also look back at it. You don't have to find it in your phone. So the website is there. There's a QR code, which you're free to, take a screenshot of. There's my LinkedIn website as well. Take a screenshot of that. And it's also been put up on the screen for you too. And remember that the book, Navigating Stress, is there for you to have a look at. I still think it's a good read. I read it through every now and then, and I've impressed myself at how simple I managed to keep the flow of information. So that's a good thing to read. And my last slide for now, guys, and I'm probably going to have to read this from the sheet because I can't see the whole screen. So I want you to remember that you are enough, you're still enough, and you'll always be enough. Now, life can feel like trudging uphill with a rucksack full of stones because for many racialized groups, stones were slipped in there long before we took our first step, not by us, but by history, institutions, and the quiet rules of how things are. So each pebble has a label, being ignored in classrooms, overlooked in boardrooms, being policed in shops. All these kinds of things happen to us. And there's a lot more to this story, which I hope you'll read through, and I can definitely get the slides to you too if you need them. I think I need to come back and have a chat with Yancey because, yes, time is of the essence. So I'm going to wrap things up, but it's been an absolute pleasure sharing everything with you. And thank you so much. So there you go. I'm back with my leader. Yes.
Excellent. I hope that, number one, I hope you guys can hear me because I've been struggling with my internet throughout. So I hope folks can hear me. If you're near a clapping emoji, find it and please minimize your screen. Make sure you give Joy some hearts, some claps, something, because even while I struggled, I was still taking notes. You were phenomenal. And there's so much for us to think about, right? Because this, we don't just leave, and say, oh, okay, that was great, but there's so much for us to apply. So let me get into some questions. If you guys have questions, definitely put them there. However, before I ask the question, I'm going to tell you all, stay on the line. We have a bonus session coming up. So first of all, I just have to say, I love the clean language energy. I freaking love that so much. We use so many words that we're not thinking about in our regular everyday language. Not a question, but I just wanted to comment there. Also, there was something that you said, there were many things that you said that really got to me. And one of them was that you realized you were not being kind to yourself. So I'm wondering, Joy, I mean, you got to that point that it felt like maybe it was a bit of a low point. Before we get there, what signs can we see while we're still here saying, oh, maybe I'm not being so nice to myself, instead of beating ourselves up, and then all of a sudden we're rock bottom and like, oh, I'm not being nice. How can we maybe kind of see the flags now before we hit rock bottom and realize we should have been nicer?
And you're absolutely right, Viancy. Seeing prevention is better than cure, as they say. But as business owners, because I personally am a solopreneur, so I work by myself and then I have people that work with me when I need them. But I get into becoming a workaholic, and it's not a good thing to say it, but I can work, I suppose, 10 hours more. Where's the stop button? So you can see that you're overworking. It feels good at the time. It's not, burnout isn't necessarily caused because people don't like their work. You can also get burnt out because you love what you do. So let's just put that one out there too. But overworking for me is my partner noticing that I I'm not around when he wants me to be. I cancel things. He tries to arrange things, and I say, "Oh, don't think I can fit this in," Or if I do go out, I'm not focusing on the people around me or the situation. I'm actually absent. Another thing that I notice is that my eating patterns go a little bit awry. I thank God that my partner feeds me and cooks for me, which is great. He's a man, he's a great cook. But I'm lazy. But I don't eat properly when I'm wrapped up in that kind of phase. And sometimes you can just lose your appetite. So you're right about how do you notice that it's happening to you. The other thing that I notice is just a kind of general poor sleeping pattern. Sometimes it can be sleeping too much. Sometimes it can be sleeping too little, not being able to get to bed. So it's just this constant inability to turn my thoughts off. So that's what I would say.
Okay, so what I'm really hearing from you in all of these things is we must have a sense of self awareness to recognize, sometimes with this cape that we wear, many times we're just going forward. I hope you can hear me because surely everything is frozen on my end. Joy, are you still hearing me okay?
Absolutely.
Okay, great. This sense of self-awareness because many times we're used to pushing, right? That pushing through. However, I hope everyone hears what Joy is saying, that you need to be self-aware. Now, there's a question for you, Joy. I don't know if you can see it on the screen.
I
Um,
can.
it says, if someone is currently undergoing burnout, what can they do to immediately start getting themselves out of it?
Okay, well, they have to recognize that they're stuck in a loop and it has to be broken. Rest is recommended, of course, stepping back and having some rest. But beyond that, you have to become aware of what created the problem, what thoughts are driving it, what emotions are you constantly swimming in, and then what behaviors are you doing it. So I do refer back to that T cycle. It's the only way to deconstruct a situation. Burnout isn't fun because people get quite lost. They get quite depressed. There can be a lot of things happening. They're kind of shutting down if they're doing it well. But shutdown is not where you want to get to. So I would encourage them to spot some of the signs early, some of the things that me and Vianse have just said. But if they're in the middle of it, taking time out is kind of important. I would call it getting off the bus, stopping the train, because it feels like a runaway train. My life feels like a runaway train sometimes. And I think, but I can get off this train. I can get off the bus. I can get off the horse. So remembering that you have that choice. So again, choices, make those choices too. And hopefully you have people around you that notice. People around you notice it way before you do. There's always, my sister's very good at noticing when I don't look good. She'll just say, there's something wrong with you. And my partner's quite good because I don't pay attention to him. Like he has to ask me a question a couple of times. I also notice that I lose my positivity and I start being quite negative, and I lose my independence as well. I stop wanting to do things. I just stop wanting to do it. Even I quite like driving, but I just don't want to drive anymore. And I feel that I shut down. I know that I'm the person that shuts down. So it's the survival response, but I'm definitely just shutting down. So I hope that helps. Hope that helps,
Oh
Joanne.
my gosh. Absolutely. Absolutely. Again, what am I hearing? Self awareness. I hope everyone, I put your LinkedIn back on the screen. I hope everyone is reaching out to Joy. She does check her LinkedIn DMs. I know this for a fact. So I hope that you're reaching out to Joy. One of the things that stood out for me when you were talking about Gen Z, so like say the snail girl life, or something that you called it, and most of us here are either Gen Xers or I'll call some of them old millennials. The millennials who are kind of close to the Gen X. I'm a Gen X myself. What can we, there's a couple of things I want to ask, and I'm trying to be mindful of the time here. However, the thing is, right, we have a certain flow. Notice I didn't say hustle. Gen X has a certain flow because we were kind of brought out that way, right? A certain flow. And how do we begin? What can we learn from Gen Z? Because the fact is, right, many of us aren't going to go from flow to like snail girl life, right? There's some, is there a, what is the happy medium that we can get to so that we can, enjoy that life and still go for what we desire?
Sounds good to me. And that's where the TLC system came into it for me. Now, TLC is a word that we use, we throw it around all the time. We know what it means: tender, love, and care. But do you ever apply it to yourself? Now, I'm sure the snail girl knows how to do that. Absolutely. I know the word, I give it to other people, but was I giving it to myself? So in an instant, I was just, let's say I was doing something which didn't feel, I was getting, my mind was racing. I haven't moved from my desk for an hour and a half. So I get stuck. I kind of like get manic, I call it. I say to myself, was that, or is this an act of TLC, Joy? I mean, you sat here for an hour and a half, just kindness. You're asking really from a place of kindness. That kind part of you, that angelic part of you says, ooh, do you really think that's an act of kindness? No? Okay, so what do you think would be an act of kindness? And that's how I managed to force myself to be nice to myself, you understand? We are quite used to beating ourselves up and having high expectations, and they are coming from a place of old beliefs, old thought systems. So that's why you do owe it to yourself to work out what's driving it. But in that moment, when you know you need to break away from something, just the word TLC seemed to help for me. TLC, tender love and care. And then, is this an act of TLC that you're doing right this moment, Joy? Just a simple question. What would be an act of TLC? Cup of tea? Just stretch your legs? Put your head in your hands and just count to 10? Listen to some music? What would be? And I deliberately practiced all the things that came into my head. And that's how I kind of like helped myself to break away from that, well, that stuck loop that I was in.
Wow, wow. Okay, I'm struggling over here. So first of all, I want to say, wow, wow, wow. I'm going to see if I can squeeze in one more question. I hope that you are still hearing me. I still am checking. Okay, it looks like you are. Folks, I want to say this also about Joy. When you connect with her on LinkedIn, also her posts are full of value. So this is very important that you connect with Joy on LinkedIn, because this is not my first time hearing about TLC. She talks about it also on her post on LinkedIn. So this is really important, right? Expand on your knowledge of this, and please make sure that you're connecting with her. Now, one more thing. There's so many things, but I'll stick to one more. Okay. And then I'll ask you for a quick answer on this. You said something, and what came up to me, oh gosh, when you were talking about the T in action. And so one of the things I think about are the women I coach, which tend to be over 40 years old, over 50, sometimes over 60. And there's a thing that they say, like, I should have been here by now, right? You were talking about that. I should have been here. I should be there. And then you gave us some information about some affirmations, or, reframing that we can do. Just give us just a little bit, smidgen more of what we can do to change our mindsets from I should have been to really affirming where we are. Just a little bit on the mindset, then we're going to transition out of this.
Yes, and I like the way that you asked the word, said the statement should, because should as a word, it just jars inside of me. So looking at the language, should, ought to, must. If you hear yourself saying that, you're completely, like barking up the wrong tree. So what can you say? And affirmations are very personal to individuals. But when I slow myself down in that way, I would say I'm exactly where I'm meant to be. I know it might be something that coaches do say quite often, but yeah, how about you are exactly where you're meant to be? Let that knock around your head for a bit and see how it sits with you. Because this is about you letting yourself off the hook of pressure and having that sort of, I suppose, person with a cracking the whip after you. You have to find your own mantras, but that mantra is one that I do use on myself a lot. You're exactly where you're meant to be. And I think, really? It makes me question it. Like, really? Okay, good. Thumbs up, Joy.
I love that. Folks, I mean, I would love for folks to even affirm that I am exactly where I need to be. If you type that in your, I'm exactly where I need to be. That's just I feel like an affirmation that we can all right now just begin to say and speak. Joy, I need to ask you, First of all, I need to thank you, all the way from the UK. Both of our speakers are from the United Kingdom, but I want to say thank you so much. You have honestly spoke healing to our souls, and especially those of you. Thank you for those of you who tuned in. Stay tuned in. Our bonus speaker is coming up, and so Joy, quick 20 seconds parting shot.
I just want to say, remember that you've only got the one life, so make it good. Remember that there's more to you than one thing. You are everything. You can do everything. There are many spokes to a wheel. So don't narrow yourself into one space. And, just remember to be expansive.
Right. Oh, I love it. And some people, I hope you see some people are affirming in the chat. I'm exactly where I'm meant to be. Joy, we thank you so, so much. We thank you, thank you, thank you. And folks, stay tuned. In about 20 seconds, we're about to have our speaker. So stay tuned. Joy, take care. Bye bye.
See you all.
Let me tell you so you no go fi stand 1 minute when we come back around. Feel it, move up your body right now. Mommy, don't never worry. Fake love, no the impress. I got vision. Burn them, free them, they never listen. We took a million and flip the precision, yeah. Give me something where I know if you see it.
Everyone, we're back for the bonus session. Someone say bonus session. You can write bonus in the chat. Again, keep in mind you have to minimize your screen in order to see the chat, and we want to make sure you are participating. I love the fact that so many of you have affirmed. I am exactly where I am meant to be, with that exclamation point. Bonus session. I know you are ready. So let's bring up our second. Let's read the introduction first. And here we go. And now we have Joanne Muturi with Beyond the Glam, radical self-care that sustains. And we're going to hear more about her right now. Let me bring her up as I introduce her. Let me bring her up as I introduce her. And here we go. Joanne Muturi is a life purpose and business coach who empowers women in corporate leadership to launch purpose-driven businesses without sacrificing their careers or influence. With over 15 years in finance, including 13 years at the United Nations Federal Credit Union, she blends deep professional expertise with transformational coaching to help women lead confidently and build sustainable, meaningful ventures. Her mantra: if you are not honoring your life purpose, you are suffocating your soul. Damn. Reflects her mission, guiding women to align success with purpose and step boldly into their full potential. Joanne, let's make sure. Ooh, okay. And I want to make sure are you seeing your presentation up there, Joanne?
I am Coach V. I just need to get access to it, but can you hear me well?
Yes, well, I don't worry about if I can hear you well. If you can hear Joanne well, just type yes, because because I'm having all types of problems on my end. So, and it looks like it just.
Yeah, I'm
Oh my
bringing it.
goodness.
It needs to start from the beginning. So if I could have it from the beginning.
Okay, we want to make sure it's up there, and it looks like it just disappeared.
Don't worry, I've got it.
Okay, all right. So I'm going to leave you to it. Joanne, you call us if you need any support. I'm going back here.
We are
Take
good.
it away, Joanne.
Right. Can everyone see? I hope you can see me, Coach V, and I am very, very excited to be here. So let's get on with it. I hope you can see my slides, and I cannot wait to just share with you the thoughts that I have and today's topic, which I'm very, very, very excited to be bringing to you all the way from the United Kingdom. And of course, I'd love to see where it is that you're streaming from. Is beyond the glam, radical self-care that sustains you. And if anyone is like me, we are high achievers, we like doing the thing, and sometimes it can get quite, demanding for us. That's why I really want to make sure that we capture what it is that we need to get today. So with that said, let's get on right with it. Why do we need to remove the cape? Why is radical self-care that sustains us important, that we need to move beyond the glam? And this is very simple, because true success really isn't about how much you do, it's about how well you are while doing it. And I'm so glad that Joy led us today into this session before I came to speak, because many of us pushing, grinding, next thing, right? And we don't even realize that it's chipping away at us. And that's why I asked the question, if for those who were there previously, what do you do when you're burnt out? Because I've had to help clients literally learn to firefight around burnout, because many of my clients come to me when it's almost literally too late. And they're like, I'm completely crushed. I cannot do anything. So true success isn't about how much you do. I know, as an ambitious professional, as someone who, is giving their all, it's do, go, push. But what is the cost of that, right? So I want to ensure that by the time we are done with this session, you will be well versed into the importance of understanding exactly what we're talking about, that radical self-care is so important to sustain us. And it's not just about bubble baths and all those sorts of things. My introduction was done, so thank you very much for sharing my introduction. But just to say that ultimately, for you to be able to step into that zone of productivity and being able to live that, what I call your one royal life with your purposeful one royal life, you need to lead with authenticity, you need to lead with purpose, and you need to live with grace. And that is why we must, without a doubt, we must take care of ourselves. So let's set the scene. The truth behind glam and behind many successful, ambitious people such as yourself is that many women, especially if you're ambitious, purpose-driven, you're doing the thing, right? We wear success as a badge of honor. And externally, like, look at that picture right there of Coach Joanne, right? You have, you look the part, yet inside lies a lot of fatigue, comparisonitis, as Dr. Joy mentioned as well, and quiet overwhelm. And because you're the one that everyone relies on to do the stuff, inside you're withering away without even noticing. We carry the weight of everything. It's you. Here you are with your career. Here you on the other side is your family. On this other side is your business. On this other side is the purpose work, your hobbies, all the things, raising children, etc. And what happens when you're juggling all these balls? You're trying to toss all these balls. They're all up in the air at the same time. It's very easy to end up forgetting yourself. It's very easy to forget myself. And why I love this topic is because I have been there. I remember, I think it was the year after COVID, it was the year after COVID, where I literally felt myself crashing. After a very successful year coaching and teaching people across the globe, during the COVID year, I had a lot of business coming in. But at the back end, I don't think, now looking back in retrospect, hindsight is 2020. I don't think I had the systems that could actually support me at the level that I was performing. And if someone could put that in the chat, do you have the systems that support you at the level you are performing? That's a very important question to ask yourself, because as I've said down there, sustainable impact begins with a sustained you. right? You cannot have sustainable impact if you do not have systems that are working seamlessly to support you. And that's why I say that radical self-care isn't luxury, it's actually leadership maintenance. As a leader, radical self-care is what will help you, right? Maintain continuously, keep the wheels turning at a reasonable pace. I'm trying to think if it's wheel alignment, wheel balancing, whichever one it is, correct? You know, the one I'm saying, you need to take your car to be aligned, to be balanced, so that they don't go do 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 do, or look like they're going outwards when you're driving and making this sound. That is what leadership maintenance looks like, and this is what happens when you take care of yourself through radical self-care, which is what I'm taking you through today. So what does radical self-care really mean? And some people are probably rolling their eyes and they're like, oh, whatever, man, this is not cliche at all. Radical self-care is actually the sacred stewardship of self. And I'm not able to see comments right now on YouTube or whatever, but I would encourage you to please type that word, that statement, that radical self-care is sacred stewardship of self. You have been given the body, mind, spirit, emotions, etc. It is your responsibility to sacredly take care of these resources that God has given you. It's not indulgence. It's not. It's actually an obedience to the call to be well, right? The Bible in 3 John 1 tells us that I pray that you may prosper just as your soul prospers, and I'm paraphrasing it. Literally, it is God's mandate and God's will for us. And I know we have people from different faiths, right? But for me, one thing that I'm steadfast about is that as a Christian, it is God's will that I am well. And when I'm well physically, I will prosper well in all my endeavors. I will prosper well in my calling. I will prosper well in the call that I have been given in my divine assignment. So it's not indulgence. It's actually obedience to the call to be well. And I want to say this, ladies and a few gents who may be watching, is that you need to work on the following. And I'm so glad that the previous speakers have touched on some of these elements, and I'll just carry on from where it is that they left. The first thing is boundaries. You must. If you're a people pleaser, you have people pleasing tendencies, which I've had in the past, and I've really had to work on this, is that understand that boundaries actually protect your peace. And it's imperative for you, if you really want to step into radical self-care and to actually remove the cape, you need to say no without apology so your yes can carry power. Even the good word, the Bible says, let your yes be yes and let your no be no. And if I can see that in the comments, I'll deeply appreciate that. Let your yes be yes, let your no be no. A double-minded man isn't stable in all his ways. That's what is the book of James says. So I want to encourage you that you need to protect your peace by having suitable boundaries. Saying no without apology so your yes can carry much power, right? And the next thing that we've talked about, even the previous speaker before me, is really tapping into your beliefs. Release performance culture. That's the same thing that she spoke about, more or less different words. We spoke about hustling, grinding, and all those words are actually so icky for me. I'm even uncomfortable saying them. They're so ick for me, right? Because I know that that's not what I want for myself. And she said the exact same words in her presentation. You are already enough. I even took a screenshot and I'm like, we are so aligned. We are speaking the same language, right? And if you are like me, when recognize that, you're an overperformer, you really are ambitious, you go for it. It's important to understand that you lead best from overflow and not from exhaustion. So you always have to continually fill your cup. I had a training yesterday, a masterclass that I taught for about 2 hours and something, and after that I was completely knackered. And my usual self would be like, okay, I'm done with that. I'm still seated at the computer. Please do some work, send the replay, do this, do the other. But because I'm also practicing what I'm teaching now, I'm learning to do what it is that I tell my clients. I'm like, you have done this presentation, you have done what you need to do for today, and it was a bit of a tough one to just turn off my laptop, but that's exactly what I did, because I want to be one of those coaches. I am one of those coaches who practices what it is that they preach. If I say that once you're done for the day, so be it. And when I turned off my computer, I went off to do other things, and I was able to give myself enough rest, enough time to do other things, have a really nice meal, and now today prepare myself sufficiently, not only for this presentation, but also mail out the replay and do other things from overflow, because I managed to get sufficient rest, right? So you lead best from overflow and not from exhaustion. The third thing I want to say, and I've noticed, I love using the same letters because it just makes life so much easier for me. That's how my mind operates. Even my signature program is CCC. Everything of mine just has all the sort of the same initials, just to make my life easy. And here we're talking about balance. So this is about designing rhythms that support both purpose and play. All work and no play makes Joanne a dull girl. And those of you who know Coach Joanne, you know this is the minister of enjoyment. I like having a balanced, harmonious, happy life, right? I'm living my purpose, but I still have time to play, right? I'm doing the things that God has called me and assigned me to do, but I still have time to go and party and enjoy with my friends and engage in social activities and just being involved in other things. That's just me. Right? Many of us were busy as a badge of honor, but busy isn't blessed. Balanced is, and I had to learn that, because many of us feel very happy telling people, oh, I'm busy, I'm busy, I'm busy. Oh, I have all this, I'm attending to this, I'm attending to the other, I'm this, that. And you think that it's a nice thing. Actually, it's not. Balance is the fact that you can be able to do your work, support people, do the things that you need to do, but at the same time replenish yourself, pour into yourself, and be poured into. Because even the Bible says that he, she who refreshes others, may they too be refreshed. So my prayer is that even as you serve, Coach Vuyanzi and all the other coaches, mentors, healers, and all the people that are listening, as you serve other people, please make sure that you too are being refreshed. That's what harmony, that's what balance is being about. And then, as a previous presenter shared, we are not human doings, we are human beings. And when you enter into the state of being, that means being present. You're here right now. You're not jumping between tabs. You're not busy sending people emails. You're not busy tucking away your kitten to sleep, and at the same time listening to me. And on the other side, you're putting the kettle on because you're about to go and take cookies to your next door neighbor, and you're all over the place. Learn to pause and not just push. Right? Being present, being fully here. And I'd love to see it in the comments. I'm going to check after this that you are here. Presence is more productive than pressure. Don't operate under pressure. Don't let anyone ever pressurize you in life. Nothing will stop because that email will go an hour later. No one will die because you took half an hour to respond to a text, or even an hour to respond to a text. Unless if it's really an emergency, they will contact you. Learn to be present. Learn to be in the here and the now, whatever that looks like for you. And I'm really reiterating this because this is also applicable in my own life. And rest is revenue. This is one of my statements. My clients know I tell them this all the time. And I have the Sustainable Business Blueprint ebook. And I want to say this well in advance that I will be sharing it with you. It's actually a paid ebook, but for everyone who is watching, and you can contact me through the links that will be sent through Instagram. You DM me and you just tell me Sustainable Business Blueprint, and I'm going to send you that ebook that we'll be sending very soon. And what I say on day 18, it's a 30-day workbook. I say that rest is revenue, reclaiming rest as a strategy. So when I got this topic, hand on heart, I was so excited about it because I was like, this is my topic. This is me. This is what I like to talk about, because this is something I really struggled with. For me, rest before equaled laziness. I'll just be honest with you. I'll not lie to you. And that's why on that page, I said this: as high achievers, we often equate rest with laziness. Yet in God's economy, rest is the weapon. Catch that. Right? We're not talking about the Babylonian system and ways of doing things. We're talking about in God's economy, rest is the weapon. And the moment you understand that, things will shift for you. What happens, right? When you rest, it sharpens your mind. It softens your spirit and it sparks your creativity. Every time I've moved from that grind, hustle, those words I don't like, and I take time even just to go for a walk, even just to go to the sauna, the steam, the jacuzzi. I just take time to relax. Guess what? Ideas just start coming like this. It's like something is just activated inside of me. And that only comes when I rest. So I want to encourage you and tell you that rest is not optional, my darlings. Rest is holy, it is healing, and actually rest is highly productive because it is in your state of rest that all these other things flow. And I want you to take your notebooks, just as Coach Vuyanzi has encouraged you, and I hope you have been doing that, and ask yourself this question and just be very transparent with yourself. And if you're a brave soul, right? I call them my B essays, not in that way. Brave soul. If you're a brave soul, write in the chat what's your current relationship with rest. Be comfortable sharing, because if you share something and someone resonates with it, they might be like, oh, I actually thought I'm the only one going through this. So also ask yourself, how can I schedule moments of intentional rest this week? For me, I love my Fridays. Fridays is what I call my queen day. That's the day that I get to do the things I like to do. I meet my friends for coffees. I go out and about to them. I'll go to the mall and go to a nearby town, go to the museum, go to an art gallery, do something different on a Friday, because Friday for me is the day that I schedule intentional rest. That's the day I'll go for my long walks. That's the day I'll go and sit at a cafe and journal for an hour and order a nice meal, and I'll go for a solo date. Sometimes I can even go for a movie on my own. That's how I do these things on a Friday. Spend time on my own. I love my Fridays, and I treat them with the sacredness that they deserve, because for me, reclaiming rest is a strategy, because I know when I rest, revenue will follow. Let's look at the ripple effect of rest. I use the word resting intentionally because it means that you are making it your focus. You're not just willy-nilly just saying, I'm going to rest. No, you're putting it in your calendar, you're diarizing it, you're making it a priority. So again, I iterate in everything. So here we have some R's. So the first R is recharge your emotional and creative energy. When you rest intentionally, you recharge your emotional and creative energy. I've just talked about that. Right? You find yourself very creative. You find, God starts giving you witty ideas. You start getting new things that are coming to your mind that you could implement, that could change your life and the trajectory of those that you serve. And when you rest intentionally, you also get to recalibrate your decisions and boundaries. You're able to sit and think, was that the right decision for this? Or is this the right decision for this? And what boundary do I need to place in such and such a matter? And as you rest and do it with intention and with focus, you get to renew your body and faith. Your body actually starts, I think it's like the previous presenter who talked about the body keeping score. Go and look for the book. I forget the person's name. The Body Keeps Score, and you can quickly Google it. And if someone can find it for me, put it in the chat. That's an amazing book. It's a book I read recently, The Body Keeps Score. So understand that when you rest intentionally, you renew your body, you renew your faith, you renew your systems, right? And last but not least, and there are many more, I'm just shortening this for purposes of this presentation, is that you receive divine ideas and downloads that, quote unquote, hustle can never produce, that grind can never produce, that push, that pull will never produce these divine ideas and downloads. So learning to take your rest seriously will multiply your productivity. Take your rest seriously. It will multiply your productivity. It will attract abundance. I taught this in a class yesterday. This is one of the areas I love to teach about, and it will protect your peace. Who wants this? Who wants your productivity to multiply? Just say yes, and I'm going to see this after. Who wants abundance to naturally gravitate towards them? Do you want to be a magnet for abundance? Do you want to attract abundance? Do you want to call in abundance? And do you want your peace to be protected? Because for me, my peace personally is my priority. So I protect my peace by all means possible. So radical self-care and practice. How do we live beyond the glam every day? Let's look at this again. Very practical things, and this is how we remove the cape so that we can live beyond the glam every day, is by recalibrating. You pause and identify your drains, and then identify your delights, the things that deplete you and the things that delight you, the things that bring joy to you. Ask yourself, what activities leave me depleted and which ones restore me, okay? And that's part of what we talked about, and Coach Buyanzi brought it out really well, self-awareness. The moment you have that self-awareness, it helps you make more purposeful, more aligned choices every single day. Self-awareness is critical in this process. And then reprioritize. Oh, thank you, Lord. Reprioritize. Put yourself back in your own calendar. You have everybody else in your calendar except yourself. You have the kids' calendars, you have the spouse's calendar, you have your client's calendar, you have name it calendar, and you can put whatever calendars that you have in the chat, please. But I want to encourage you, in fact, not only encourage you, I want to beseech you to block time for rest, reflection, and recreation with the same seriousness as you put for meetings. As I shared with you, my own strategy every Friday is the day everything is put on the side. That's Joanne's day. Because I always remind myself, and I want to remind you this, your health and wholeness are business assets. A sick coach, a sick healer, a sick consultant cannot help nobody. You need to be healthy, you need to be whole. You need to be in top form. Because when you're in top form and you're operating at a top tier, level, you're a business asset. And not only a business asset, you're an asset to your family, you're an asset to your community, you're an asset to everyone who needs you because you're in top form. So I'd encourage you that you block time for rest, reflection, recreation with the same seriousness as you block the time that for meetings and other people's things. Replenish. So important. Fill your emotional, spiritual, and physical tanks. When I asked that question earlier about burnout, is because of this. Most of us operate not replenished, under-replenished, misreplenished, whatever word you want to put there. So how do you replenish yourself? We have different faiths, people practice different things, but for me, it's reading God's word, soaking myself in the Bible, walking in nature, listening to music. I love old school music. I love my soul. I love my gospel, Give me that old time religion, I love listening to gospel music. I love listening to my R&B. I love listening to my soul and just dancing in the house. That replenishes me, and also connecting with safe people. We do not want toxic people in our lives. If someone is toxic to you, I can tell you for a fact, for free, they're not replenishing you. They are depleting you. They are draining you, and they fall under the first category, which is those who drain you. So please get rid of all those people who find a way, because some of them are the closest to you. Find a way to deal with that, because sometimes the people closest to us can be the ones who can damage us the most. So we need to be very aware of that. Small, consistent acts of replenishment will lead to radical transformation. And obviously, I'm so glad that we have coaches, we have therapists here. If you feel you don't have safe people around you, reach out. Get a coach. Speak to Coach Buyanzi. Speak to me. Speak to Joy. Reach out. There are people who are ready to help you, but please do not suffer on your own. I'll also add a couple more restorative sacred poses. This include, again, depends on your religion, what it is that you follow, but for me, Sabbath rest, treat the Sabbath holy. For me, that Sunday is, so you can tell by now I have technically a 3-day weekend. So my weekend technically starts at midday on Friday, goes all the way to end of day Sunday, and then Monday until Friday, midday are my working days. So we have rest, we have solitude. I love spending time alone because a lot of the time I'm spending time with people, whether through coaching sessions, through events, through all sorts of things, church activities, blah, 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 social activities. So I love my solitude moments. I love, love, love to journal. If you've lived with me, worked with me, operated with me in any way, shape, or form, my journals sit right next to me. I don't know if you can see that because I can't see myself right now, but I always have my journals right next to me. And I also want to remind you that restoration is when revelation happens. When you're restoring, when you're getting back that Joanne's groove, when you're getting watered into, that's when revelation happens, because God speaks most clearly to still hearts. You cannot expect God to speak to you when there's so much noise and distractions and all things happening. People are shouting, people are screaming, you're screaming yourself. A previous speaker has shared all the negative voices that go on in our minds. We have to be very careful. Still your heart, and that's why the Bible tells us, be still and know. And when you take that moment to be still and to know, and you're present, you will be restored. And as I always say, rinse and repeat. Make self-care a rhythm, not a reward. Let it be part of your life. That's why we are having these sessions. And I'm so grateful to you, Coach Vuyanzi, and I honor you for having these sessions, because by removing this cape, by taking down those masks and telling ourselves that, we really need to look at these things seriously. We're not rewarding ourselves. We are making this a rhythm. You don't have to unrest. It's part of how God designed us, and He Himself took time to rest on the 7th day. So who are we not to? Consistency turns radical self-care into effortless sustainability. The more you're consistent with it, the more natural it will become for you, and it becomes effortless. And God's design for work and rest was never burnout and recovery. It was rhythm and renewal. And I really hope you're catching these things. And if it's landing, if it's making sense to you, I'd love to see landing, so that I can know we are speaking the same language and that we are on the same page. When you honor rest, you make space for divine downloads, sharper strategy, and sustainable stewardship. That's a quote that I wrote for you ladies and a few fine gents who may be watching. When you honor rest, you make space for divine downloads. You'll find your strategy, your strategy becomes sharper, and you become a more astute steward of what you have been given. And as a result, it becomes more sustainable. And I just want you to take a couple of minutes to just think and reflect. Where have you been running on empty? What does radical self-care look like in this season? In the country that I'm at right now, I'm currently in the United Kingdom. We're getting into winter. That means by 4 o'clock, 4:30, it's dark. It's starting to get dark. It's nighttime, and we find ourselves being more like Winnie the Pooh. We start hibernating, and we spend more time in the house. People rush home from work because you just want to be in the nice warm house, cozying up, and we have all the autumn colors, and we make our houses have the nice and warm, so that we have the hot chocolates, we have the mild wine, we create an environment that is conducive. This is the time we have the bubble baths and just quiet evenings at home, crackling fires and that sort of thing. Now, I know we're in different parts of the world. Depending on where you're at, what does radical self-care look like in this season? So I've given you an example for what that looks like for me. Right now, I'm preparing for my 3-day vision creation experience that is happening on December 5th, 6th, and 7th. And right now, all gears are engaged for me regarding that. So in as much as I'm putting in some self-care practices here and there, I have about 3 weeks to this event. So I know that I may, push myself a bit more than normal, but after the 3-day event, the 3-day virtual vision creation experience, I then know that that I'm going to take some time off. I'm going to take some time for a staycation, 3 days somewhere and just chill. So you know your life. I don't know your life. You know your life. And using what I'm sharing, I pray that you're getting tips that can help you. And then ask yourself, what's one boundary or rhythm that you can commit to today? So for example, if you're one of those people send you long voice notes, 20-minute voice notes, you don't have time to listen to a 20-minute voice note. Just tell them, please shorten your voice note. I can't listen to a 20-minute voice note, and just be very clear with that boundary. Or it could be something like, after a certain period, you won't take client work. So after 5 o'clock, it's okay to tell clients, I'm not going to take client sessions after a certain time, and that's perfectly okay. So you know your life, please do the needful. I have a special gift for you, my darlings. I love to gift where I can, and I'm so grateful to Coach V for giving me this opportunity. And today I want to thank you for being part of this Beyond the Glam session. And I'm going to gift you my brand new ebook, The Sustainable Success Blueprint for the Purposeful Next Level Woman. Actually, that's what my event is. It's just that it's very wordy, but that's what it is. The Purposeful Next Level Woman, 3-day virtual vision creation experience. And the book that I have written, it's an ebook. It's 30 days to build your God-given dream without burning out. Hence the reason I asked the question on burnout, because I get a lot of clients coming to me when they're close to burnout, but we're not going to wait for that. We are going to make sure that you are taken care of, and this ebook will actually be available for sale soon. But today, those of you who are listening to this session, you are so blessed because you're going to get it as a special gift from me to you. Special gifts to Coach Viance's audience, as well as my own audience who are watching and whoever else will be watching. Simply DM me on Instagram. My Instagram is at purpose_cultivator to receive your complimentary copy. So in closing, I'm going to say this. Beyond the glam, I want you to stay grounded in grace. When you're grounded in grace, you're not in survival mode. You're not always pushing through. You're calm. Your demeanor is poised. You're a woman who is elegant, and you hold your own space. You're not frazzled. You're not putting out fires left, right, and center. You're not very busy pulling out your hair because you don't even know where to start. You're not dealing with perpetual overwhelm. You're not throwing the baby with the bathwater because you don't even know what is what. You just toss it all out. No. You stay grounded in grace. You stay grounded in grit, because your purpose deserves a healthy, whole, and rested you. As a purpose coach and a business coach, this is my mandate, that my clients are healthy, they're whole, and they're rested. And I want to remind you as I wind up that rest isn't retreat. Rest is renewal. So do get in touch, screenshot. That's how to get in touch with me. Instagram is good. Facebook is perfect. Email is great. And you can check out my website right there. And obviously, I'm sure Coach V and her team will be putting up this information. But for you to get the book that I'm giving you, please DM me on Instagram and I will reach out and I'll get back to you. So any questions, takeaways, please type your whatever it is that you'd like to share in the chat box. But for now, I'll stop share and go right back to Coach Vianze.
Oh my goodness. Please minimize your screens. If you have access to a clapping hand or a heart, let's give it up for Joanne. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. I will, I really have to say this disclaimer. I am still struggling with my internet. I was taking notes on everything I could hear. So I do have some questions for you. If I freeze up, you'll need to tell me, Coach Joanne, because I won't know it. So you guys, you were awesome. And wow, like here is where I say, Joanne, where God speaks. Why do I say that? Because of the healing. We were talking about healing first, right? Healing the hustle. And then it's not just that you heal it and that you're just, that's it. But you came right behind that with showing us how to make radical self-care sustainable. This wasn't, earlier it was just like, hey, pick a day that you can be there. And notice how so on point these
Amen.
two messages were aligned. It is absolutely amazing. If you're here, make sure you type aligned in the chat. So let me just do some quick housekeeping things because I have some questions for Joanne. I have some questions for her. Number one, make sure you are connecting with her. Her Instagram handle is there. And so I want you to come back though. Like, I don't want you to stay in Instagram because we get distracted. So get her Instagram info, connect with her right now, and make sure you're staying here with us because I have some questions. So also, Leah, who's been working very hard in the background, is going to put a survey up. Now, we want your opinion, because we really want to know, especially on a night like tonight where we had two speakers, we want to hear from you. However, I need you to come back here. Don't get lost in the survey. It shouldn't take you but a couple of minutes. In fact, you can, just lost my earring. In fact, you can copy and paste it. You can copy and paste it and come back to it. Okay, so now I want to say this. As you spoke, what came up for me was this quote. I don't know if you've heard it before. It doesn't matter if you haven't, but it's this quote by Audre Lorde. Joanne, it says, caring for myself is not self-indulgence. It is self-preservation. And that is an act of political warfare. So as you were talking, I thought about that. And so one thing that came up for me as well is, you talked about rest. And one thing I know is, and I'm sure you've seen this too, Joanne, where some clients feel guilty when they rest, when they choose rest. How do we shift out of the guilt that comes with rest? Because we have this idea that if we're not working, we're not producing. And if we're not producing, we're not doing the right thing. Help us with that, please.
Okay. Coach Buyanzi, you're very clear, you're very eloquent, and that earring cannot get lost because of its size. It definitely cannot get lost. But that said, sometimes the ones who teach the thing need it the most. The fact that I teach this stuff is because I need it the most. I went through a very traumatic life experience, sickness, and I was in hospital for a long time. And when I was in the hospital, I kept praying for the day that I will be discharged so that I can get on with my life. And when I was discharged from the hospital, Coach Buyanzi and anyone listening to me, I found that I had so much, fear of missing out. I was so scared I could not even take a nap because I thought I might go to bed and not wake up. Do you understand what I'm saying? It was very, 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 very traumatic. And I'm just being very honest with you. And for a very long time, even now, I cannot take a nap during the day. Why? Because in my mind is sleeping is for night. The day is for productivity. And I've had to work very hard to really help myself. And I was quickly pulling up for you one of the books that has really helped me. I don't know if any of you know this book. It's called Rest is Standing there opposite side. It's called Rest is Resistance. And I want you to check it. If Leah can put it in the chat. It's called Rest is Resistance. Free yourself from grind culture and reclaim your life. I realized that I'm not helpful to anyone when I'm perpetually running and doing all these things because I end up so exhausted, and it's not a badge of honor. And for me, integrity is one of my values. So there's no way I can be telling you, Coach Buyanzi, to do one thing and I'm not doing the thing. So I had to find ways and systems. And the first thing I had to do is, the easiest thing for me is to enjoyment. So long as there's an enjoyment element, that for me is rest. So I had to figure out, how can I do this? So Fridays, as I said, for me going to sit at a Starbucks, me going to sit at a Costa, me going to sit somewhere, for me is rest. It doesn't have to be after lying down and sleeping, right? The gym, I go to the Virgin Active. It's a really good gym. We have the sound bath there. We have, we have the jacuzzi. We have the sauna and the steam, and I'll go and I'll just sit there and mind my own business, and that for me is rest. So it's really finding out what that is for you. I hope I've not gone out of topic, but I hope that helps someone. Coach, does that help?
Yes, it does. And I'm sorry if you're seeing me doing that, because I'm struggling to hear. However, it does help. And it's reminding me that if anyone also follows you on TikTok, I noticed you didn't mention your TikTok, but you are taking the walks during your TikToks. And you're telling us you're listening to music. You're actually, even in your talks, you're showing us the example of that going back to when you mentioned, having that fun, that part. So if you follow her, is it also Purpose Cultivator on TikTok too?
It's exactly the same. It's on TikTok, and I'm so glad you've reminded me. And I also have a podcast. I was just thinking, I can't just say all the things just for purposes of, let's concentrate on, but they're all Purpose _ Cultivator. Yeah.
Okay. So
I have to correct that. The podcast is called Next Level on Purpose. So yeah, we are starting new episodes in the new year. Next Level on Purpose is the name of the podcast.
Okay, all right. So, Lay, I hope you heard it all and just put it in. There we go. There we go. That's awesome. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about, and I think you've already begun to answer this. I just wanted to say this. As you're talking, another thought came up for me, and it was, and I don't know if it's international, but I do know that it's in the States. There's one of these money transfer apps called Venmo. And I remember the billionaire founder of it was being interviewed. And, the interview guy said something about, how did you make it? And this billionaire actually said this, Joanne. He said, what's highlighted is those days you don't sleep, the grind, the hustle. He said, but they never talk about the rest. So this billionaire was actually talking about rest in making your millions or your billions, because he said it's not advertised or no one talks about it. But I love the fact that you are here tonight. You and Joy have been here talking about it. Now, going back to play, balance. Many of us have forgotten how to play. In fact, many of us we don't understand the science behind the fact that we should be doing things that for our amusement and having fun. It's actually, it's very good. How do we figure out what's fun for us when so many of us have been not prioritizing it? How do we figure this out?
And I think it's our socialization, because especially people of Black origin and culture, I'm a firstborn myself, the first thing you're told is grow up. You need to mature, you need to grow up. Those are childish things. Do you know what I mean? And especially if you come from faith backgrounds, all those are childish things. And when you're a child, do the things that children should do. And when you grow up, the way people just screw up.
When I was a child, I spake as a child. Yes.
And they're turning scripture, saying the wrong thing. That's not even what it's meant to say, but they make it suit themselves. Do you know what I mean? It's not, that's not the context, but someone will throw it there at you and and for you, because you've grown up as this Christian girl or whatever child, you believe that that's the be all end all. So for me, it's the things that delight you. And that's why I use the words, the drains and the delights. And I want to say this, Coach B, we all know the things that delight us in a way, right? And for some people, it could be very simple, like you like water. So if you like water, perhaps try to swim. You know what I mean? Yeah, you like showering. So okay, I like to shower. Why don't I try swimming? That could be like me. I'm a foodie. I love my good food, and I don't just like any food. I like fine dining. Clock that T, right? I I like fine dining. I won't be apologized about it. So if you like good food, maybe for you, that pleasure is finding out what's the a new restaurant in your area, in your neighborhood, that you could go with your girlfriends and just chill and have a bottle of rosé and just hang out and have a good meal. It doesn't have to be complicated. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
For me, I love to write and I love to speak. So when I hear there's a play, there's something happening in the theater, I'm very quick to sign up for that. A new movie comes up, Coach V, we are with you in the same movies group. Unfortunately, I'm so behind in what's happening on the Netflix. But if you love to watch these sort of things, ask yourself, what excites me? What are the sort of movies that I enjoy? And you know what? Follow it. Take yourself out to the movies. Every time I've gone to the movies on my own, I have loved it. I just buy my popcorn and I get my drink and I sit my butt down and I just fix myself on the screen for the 2 hours. My phone is off. I don't care about nothing in this world. And guess what, Coach V? After those 2 hours, I'm so replenished. I'm happy to go back and serve my clients because I've watched a good movie. I love romantic movies. I'm such a chick flick girl. I love, dogs with their heads out of the window on a hot sunny day and the children singing in the back seat. That's my sort of movie. So all that to say is discover, it's so easy to discover these things if you allow yourself to. Give yourself permission to be curious. Curiosity is a superpower. Curiosity is the gift. Curiosity is something that most women deny themselves. But for me, I'm so curious. From childhood, I used to ask people. Like one day, my dad said a funny story how someone had said they're divorced, and I went up to them and I said, "What does divorced mean? Can you explain to me, like a 7-year-old, because I'm 7, what divorced means?" And my dad was like, "Oh my God." But that curiosity has helped me. It's that curiosity that I was like, "Coach V, we are removing the cape this year. Can Coach Joanne come and speak?" That's curiosity. Do you know what I mean? You ask and you shall get. But if you don't ask, it ain't gonna land. A closed mouth don't get fed. So learn to be curious, learn to be engaging, learn to be involved, and you'll be very surprised what's on the other side of that. Back to you, Coach V.
I love it. And I just have to say, even though it just took 1 hour and 51 minutes, but I'm finally hearing you clearly and seeing your screen clearly. Imagine.
You're kidding me. You're going to watch it on YouTube properly.
Oh my gosh. You've said so many great things, and we're going to wrap it up soon. However, I could not omit doing this, going back to one of the beginning things that you said, and you said boundaries, and I wrote down saying no. So I'm going to ask everyone to minimize their screen and just put no in the chat, because sometimes we just need to practice saying no, because as what women and whatever it is, the way we are, and I think this crosses cultures. Because I could see this in the United States as well as here. It's like the idea where I am here in Kenya, the idea of saying no it's like, no, we can't say no. You can say other things, you can break your back to try to do it, but saying no is not necessarily an option. Any more words about that whole saying no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to say, that's a statement I love, and you've probably heard it before, that no is a complete sentence. And I wish they could put that in the chat as well. No is a complete sentence. What most of us do as women, and please let me know if you're like that, Coach V, and whoever else is listening, you say no, but you have to substantiate the thing. You have to add something to the no. Who asked you to say anything? Then no is enough. You don't have to say, "Oh no, but No, let's just leave it at no. No is a complete and utterly complete statement. So I personally have struggled with that because, as I said, I am a recovering people pleaser. I'll always have the no, but, "Oh, we could consider it." No. If it's no, there is no considering. It's finished, right? So don't feel always like you have to substantiate or you have to add some extra things to the no. And stress to strength says no. No is a complete sentence. Period. End of.
Oh, I love it. And so, as I begin to ask you your parting shot, Joanne, before that, I want to remind everyone to, if you could kindly or unkindly, please do the survey. And just know when you complete it, we unashamedly ask you to buy us a cup of coffee. Leah and I have been working hard to get this to you, to bring all these amazing speakers. So, Joanne, what
Yes.
is your parting shot for those who are listening today?
Okay. I am a bit of a rebel, so it won't be one, it will be two. And the first one I'll start is my mantra. If you're not honoring your life purpose, you are suffocating your soul. And if you're suffocating your soul, you will be always going round that hamster wheel, which will cause you restlessness. It will cause you disease. Disease is disease, lack of ease. So I would beseech you to start with discovering what the heck am I here to do? And making it your personal business to find out, because that will be the first thing that will give you rest. I got so much rest when I found out what my calling is, what my purpose is, because I know I'm not throwing spaghetti on the wall and expecting it to stick. I know exactly what I'm doing and why I'm doing it and who it is for. My why is the reason that I wake up every day for me is so perfectly clear, and I pray for everyone, because when that becomes clear, rest becomes a natural byproduct of that. Okay, that's the first thing. The second thing that I would want to say as we part is, please take this session seriously. Go back, watch from day one. Coach Vuyanzi, Leah, and the team have gone out of their way, exceedingly, abundantly, beyond, to make this. You've seen her and her internet that is misbehaving, but she's pushing through. I want to say this: if you've not watched them, today I binge watched like 3. I listened to the Yvonne's one, I listened to the Money Lady, the one in South Africa. I beg your pardon, sorry, I've forgotten her name. She spoke really well. I listened to 3, and I said to myself, this is golden. So if you're struggling in life and you're wondering why you're struggling, it has to stop today, because the solution is right here in removing the Cape 2025 Summit. Go watch all the days, take notes, have your notepad. I showed you mine. This was given to me by a client. Have your notepad and just write those little gems, not little gems, those big gems, and go back to them over and over again. And the last thing I'm going to do is to honor you, Coach Vuyanzi. You're a dear friend. I love you with all my heart. I don't even believe I've never met you in the flesh, because you and me, we are such kindred souls. We're always laughing and entertaining each other. And I pray, I was in Nairobi a few months ago, but I literally came in and out. I was there just not for too long, and I had a lot of clients, things happening. And I kept feeling so guilty, saying, if Coach Vuyanzi knew I'm around, should be like, where are you, my friend? But I promise you that next time it will not just be an afternoon, but we will have a night out. A night to remember. Please honor this lady, give her some love in the chat. And as she said, please get, this, they do this for free. Buy them a cup of tea. I always say, sow into fertile ground. Coach Vuyanzi, Leah Karaoke, this is fertile ground. They've poured into you ceaselessly for the last few days. Pour back into them. And I'm going to be the first one to send my cup of tea. So send me the link for the cup of tea, because I'm not going to tell people to do what I'm not going to do. And with that, Coach Joanne will zip it.
Wow. I feel so much love, Leah. Just drop that link in the chat. Just drop that link, buy me a coffee in the chat. First of all, I feel the love all the way over here. I can't wait to hug you in person. I'm excited about that. Oh my God. And everyone, this wraps up day 8 of
Wow.
removing the cape. Day 8 of
Well
removing the
done.
cape. It is crazy. And tomorrow, let's talk about Thursday. We are coming up with Coach Cece. She's going to talk about the confidence conspiracy. So imagine taking all this that you've learned over these days, and then let's say imposter syndrome tries to hit you, and then you don't want to move forward in it. So she's going to help us to silence. Just check out the chat. Leah just shared the thank you, Leah. So make sure you come tomorrow. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. The Confidence Conspiracy, silencing your inner imposter. Need I say more? No, I don't. As you get ready to really apply these principles, folks, keep showing up, keep shining, and keep removing those capes. Joanne, Coach Joanne, thank you so much. Everyone, we thank you all for being here. We're going to close out. We'll leave the chat open a little bit longer for you to get those links. Make sure you follow and connect with Joanne as quickly as possible. And you can buy us some coffee too. All right, take care. Bye, Joanne. Bye, everyone.
Bye, Coach V. Bye, everyone. Thanks for having me. Bye.
Let me tell you so you no go fi stand 1 minute when we come back around. Feel it, move up your body right now. Mommy, don't never worry. Fake love, no the impress. I got vision. Burn them, free them, they never listen. We took $1 million and flip the precision, yeah. Give me something where I know fi see. Let me tell you so you no go fi stand 1 minute when we come back around. Feel it, move up your body right now. Mommy, don't never worry. Fake love, no the impress. I got vision. Burn them, free them, they never listen. We took $1 million and flip the precision, yeah. Give me something where I know fi see.